Yo, what's going on? Good to see you as always. Today we're going to be pushing a track that I made last week a little further. So we got this track here kind of going, right? It's this little track I made on the Polyend play. Right, and forgive the scratchy audio, it's probably this table. But what's cool is with the latest update on the Polyend play, which again, by no means is new news, I was able to export this into Ableton Live as just stems. And no, this video isn't sponsored by Polyend or anybody. Actually, you know what? It's sponsored by me. I sell synth hats and synth shirts at this website right here. In case you're interested, go pick yourself up one. But anyway, it works pretty well. And yeah, I got the track into Ableton Live. Check this out. Right, I already gone ahead and labeled these up a bit. I don't even know what this is for. We can get rid of that. But it labels them track 1 through 8, reverb, delay, awesome, awesome. But I asked what would be cool on this. Some people said some strings, some flutes, maybe some live percussion. So let's do a lot of that today. And I'm not gonna aim to finish this entire track right now because I don't want to make an entire song here in front of you because one, is boring. Two, that's way too much pressure to just get this done all in like one shoot. I feel like I wouldn't be able to do my best work that way, but let's see how far we can push it today. So already I got the Nord, want to add those strings, and I think I can play these together. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So I know it's a little hot volume-wise, but we'll fix that in post. Famous last words, right? So I'm gonna record the Nord wave for just a little bit. Boom. Da, 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 Cool, so I wanted that to be a little longer, get some more movement in there. If we play this back, you know it's gonna be a little loud. Let's go ahead and grab this whole section, duplicate that bad boy. This reverb and delay, I'm gonna just go ahead and group this and drop this way down, so it's just out of the way. Track 1, let me rename these real quick. Okay, some organization. I know the clips ain't named, but at least I got the tracks. If we play this back, I'm gonna bring down both of these heavily. And let's just see what this sounds like now, right, without the solo. And I'm gonna bring the Nord up from nothing, just because that's how I prefer to kind of work, so I make sure it sits in there perfectly. Yeah, right there in the back, that's easy. I'm gonna go ahead and add an 8. When I say add an 8, I mean an EQ 8, so in case there's ever any confusion. I don't want any of the low register stuff, right? And then same with this. Let's go ahead and loop this little section here and bring up the third wave. Cool, same thing. I'm just gonna go ahead and copy paste this EQ 8 onto the third wave here. And now let's duplicate this third wave. I'm gonna take select track content, erase that. And the only reason I duplicated the track is just so that I still have all of my ins and outs settings. So I don't have to go ahead and redo that. But now we got this little part here. And now I wanna kind of come up with a bass line because the bass line I have is okay, right? Where is it at? Is it this? It's okay, right? Nothing crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that out. The problem here though, you might be able to hear it, is if you listen to this section, I completely on purpose, sent the bass to the reverb to kind of give it some more movement. So it's here and it ain't going anywhere. So I'm just gonna have to hopefully kind of push out some of the lows from the, that actually kind of worked. Watch, without it. Yeah. There's a lot of bass stuff in there that I do not like. That's gonna muddy up the mix. I'll just kind of throw this little EQ 8 on here to kind of clean that up. And that does kind of get rid of that bass. And famous last words again, I'm just gonna go ahead and delete the bass. We don't need it. We'll make one better, right? We'll always make it better the second time, or the third time, or the fourth time. We just keep it moving. Okay, cool. So this is this. And let's just come up with a bass line. Now we got this little third wave here. Let me find a little. This is really intense, but we can turn the resonance down. All right, so I found a bass. This works pretty well. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna extend this to, what's that, 2 bars? And just kind of record a little bit, quantize, chop up my notes. I know what notes I wanna play. We're in G minor as usual, and hopefully something kind of cool comes out of it. Let's see. So to do this, I'm gonna double click this and I'm just gonna select, let's just do half a bar loop within this. So now you can automatically see that this whole section up here, if I zoom into that, it's gonna be represented of whatever little section I selected down here, and I can kind of move this around and it's gonna, populate as needed within those loops or within this giant loop, right? So I can pull this out a bit. Right, and I can find these like, maybe this is too quick, so let's give ourselves like half a bar. Okay, so this is actually getting really close to something that would be really fun to use or really cool, and I'm just gonna wreck this, but check this. I'm gonna put a couple markers in here to lock my audio playing to kind of like notes that I want, and I know you're probably rolling your eyes right now being like, yo, just use the external instrument rack and send these MIDI notes to the third wave so you can edit it all later. I know that exists, but I'm just gonna try and do this real quick. Let's put this even further. Yeah, that's cool. And see, for this little section here, I can make it silence. And I know I didn't record this, I recorded with the filter down, but there's some more modulation on there. I'm just gonna grab an auto filter and push it even lower. I just want this to be rumble. That's fine, I'm down with that. And if you wanted, you could throw an 8 on there, right? And then set this to like a crazy 4-pole or whatever this is. And we'll put this down at 24 Hertz. Clean up the bottom end just a little bit. All right, let's bring in some of this. And what's dope about this is I can say, let's lock into this loop here. I can find another section in here. That almost works. Do it, right? And same thing, I can say, all right, let's select this little section here, hit Command U, it's gonna lock it in. And this one, I wanna bring it. Yo. And then we got the other part here. Watch, it's gonna loop back around. Oof. Yo. Oh, getting the chills again. Dude, but this section here, did you hear that for a split second? Listen to this little section here. If I zoom into this, listen, look, this little part where these previous notes of the other loop are playing and it goes into this, that's what I like. That sounded sick, watch. Now I can just say, grab this, copy paste this right here. Boom, and we just created that loop. And if you want to like lock it in for life, bam, Command J, you just solidified this. There's no going back, right? Maybe we can find a loop within this loop, but I think this is good for now. Now, another thing that I think this can use was some more live percussion stuff, right? So I'm gonna open up a new audio track, go into track 1, get some shaker up in here. That's kind of one of my favorite things. And we'll set this to in. Yep, that's it. So record. Oh, this one's tricky. All right, I think that works. There's something in there for sure, right? I really feel like I hit a stride back here. Duplicate this, we'll set this to auto. Same thing, everything's a little off, but there's some tricks up our sleeve. Let's zoom into this one section. If I hold down Command and Option, it pulls up this little hand, and I can Command Option Shift. It'll make it this little finger, and I can adjust this around a little bit. So I'm gonna make sure I kind of land on a couple of these the way I like. They're not all gonna be perfect because I'm not a robot. I mean, it'd be kind of cool if I could turn on some internal quantization on my body. But that'll give it that swing, right? And I can just copy paste this across. And say I really like these first four, copy paste just that section across. Right, and I'm gonna go ahead and add a compressor to this. Command F, C-O-N, select the compressor, and I wanna bring this way down so it catches the peaks of the shaker. A little bit of a ratio. It just kind of helps control some of the volume, right? Another option is Command F, and I'm going to do the, do I still have it on this computer? Yes, soft limit. So check this out. Soft limit here will really just like crunch the crap out of your transients. And why this is beneficial, again, mega shout out to John Tejada. One of the craziest, dopest producers ever. Huge inspiration to me. Chat with him all the time. He taught me this. And my best version of explaining this is with something like soft limit. When you have transients that really peak super duper high, digitally, they can be registered as robbing headroom from the mix. In the analog world back in the day, I think the components couldn't react fast enough to even register how hard something was actually hitting. But today, it's a lot more hi-fi. We get a lot more data. And what soft limit allows us to do is kind of have this analog, old school hardware feel towards things like these hardcore transients that are popping up, right? So look, if I put this in here and I say, let's turn our limiter down. If we just solo this, right, and I turn this off, that's fine. But what I want you to pay attention to is look at this meter here. It's chilling right here. With this off, it's only the transient. That big old peak is popping all the way up there. And everything else is kind of sitting somewhere else down here. So what this soft limit will allow us to do, of course this is an extreme example, is in a way kind of compress this and lower our peak transients down, giving us some of that headroom back. Even if I turn this up a little bit like this, and then we take this off, and add it again, it's going to just bring down some of this digital headroom that allows us to have a cleaner mix. So I've been kind of putting this on almost everything that has a lot of dynamic range, if you will. And I don't care. I can squash this thing like crazy and make it sound like something new. Rules don't apply here, right? So let's just go ahead and do this. Let's add an 8 on here. And we'll bring this up a little bit. Drop that down a little. And cool, let's go ahead and duplicate this track. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab this whole thing, close that out. And let's just get kind of, Theo Parrish on it. Moody Man, just add some claps. Check, 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 check. Okay, cool. Cool, there's some in there for sure. I like this little section here. This works. Copy that over. Yes! Listen to that. And it's late. I'm all for it. So we're going to go into here. These are the 4 that we have. I'm just going to turn loop on since it's there. I'll grab this, slide. Oh boy. Oh boy. So I want to make sure I grab these 4 first, Command L, loop that, and now similarly to what we were doing with the bass line, we now have control over this, but you can see how late these are. You might like that, but I can change our start point here, and you can see it represented on the timeline up here. Kind of weird to see what's going on down here and then have it up here, so I can slide this around, and I can make sure it doesn't slide on the grid by holding down Command. And now I can line it up. But see, that kind of robs some of that weird loose swing, right? We're just kind of chilling here. We want to keep this kind of loungy. Yes. And that's so funny. That's it. That's all that it's added. But listen to it. Watch. It just changed. It's so funny how it makes the sample, which is the same sound every single time, sound so much more organic. And this is such a subtle thing way in the back. And if we wanted to be funky about it, watch this. This is one of my favorite things to do. It's actually why I bought this R1 reverb pedal from Walrus, because it has this really dope pre-delay. Do I want to set this up and do this way? You know what? Yeah, screw it. Let's go ahead and do this. We're here. Okay, so in live, this is our clap track here, right? We'll just say clap track. What I want to do is add a ton of pre-delay to this clap, but rhythmically. So I'm going to use the R1. I mean, I could be lazy and just do this in with just the regular reverb, right? Because you see you got the pre-delay here, but I think the R1 actually sounds really good, and let's just have some fun, right? Why not? So Command F, we're going to say external audio effect. I'm going to send the audio output to 3. This is just a mono track, but the R1 will take mono to stereo. So coming back, soloing this again, is being sent out, and I see our audio coming back in on 11 and 12. Cool, so there it is. There's our clap. Let's turn on the R1. There it is, right? We have our mix, and then we can just turn up our pre-delay. Right? We can go to this refract one, which is actually the real reason I bought this. The only thing here is that the decay and the swell are a little too much. I wish they were shorter. But the refract allows you to say more glitches. Watch this. You hear all that? That I thought was cool, but we'll stick with spring for now. And let's start bringing it in with some more drums. Let's get out of this view, and let's bring in our clap and our other clap. Like that. I like that. We'll go to our high, bring in some more highs, drop the lows. Go to our depth, maybe hall. Bring our highs down on that again. Now let's bring it in with everything else. Let's go back to spring. We'll mute these. You hear that? That I like that a lot. So we'll go to our clap track here, open up a new track. Take audio from, oh, do I have bounce in place right now? I do. Listen to this. Drag this over. I can't get my bounce in place to work properly, so I gotta drag it over here. Do this. Gonna make a new track, resample and solo just that with a little. Cool, there it is. Bada bing, bada boom. Grab this, go over here. Let's fully commit, drag it up here, delete this track, and now we are on to the next thing. Thank you, R1. That's all I needed you for. Cool, we got a bass line, we got the claps, we got some strings and all that stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and add another third wave, believe it or not, only because that's the only synth I really have plugged in my studio right now. Turn off our auto filter, we'll leave that 8 on there. Open this up, and okay, so we're at this actual pivot point that I think is important because I'm recognizing it as I'm doing this right now. I can add more synths, or I can stay in the lane of organic sounds. And I'm leaning more towards organic sounds because we got some synth stuff here already. So instead of doing third wave, I'm actually gonna do some Nord stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and go to my usual classic. the amber upright, right? And I can patch this through the R1 as well if I really wanted, which, you know what, might as well, I'm right here. Let's just do it. Back in here. So this isn't even going through an external instrument rack within Live. This is just a hard patch in on the patch bay. Let's go to air. Turn our decay down. All right, let's play this. Dude, that's the move right there. Dun, 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 dun. That's it right there. Right. Ah, I hit that one too early. Let that ring out. Dunzo. Listen. Listen. Oh. Yes. And again. And the bass line change. Subliminal. You'll notice that in a couple bars and you'll be like, whoa, where am I? Where art thou? What just happened? And then bring in those, the Nord strings, there it is. Take the kick out. This is it. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go ahead and just do the ultimate rough mix and then we will roll out of here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, a couple bars. Let's at least get to the 3-minute mark, right? So there, 3 minutes. Cool, how is this track gonna start off? It's definitely not gonna start off with the bass line. I don't think that's necessary. We'll hit 0. We don't need this little doon, 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 doon. We don't need that. Shaker, the secondary clap track we can leave in there. Let me go ahead and move the Nord up so I have like all my synthy type stuff up at the top. We'll get these chords up there as well. And this clap track we can leave. Okay, cool, so we don't need this. We can leave that in there. We don't need this percussion track, right? The perks are a little in your face for a little while. And that up hat that we have here, also not necessary. And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just throw an auto filter on our, on this entire little section right here. So if I zoom into this here, this is our chords. I'm going to bring this way down. And again, you can hear it in the delay track, but whatever, we're just gonna roll with it. We're gonna say we did that on purpose. No one's gonna know because we get to play it off, right? So I'm gonna select our auto filter, let this stay really low, put a little dot right here, and by, let's say, let's choose 17. I'm gonna bring it all the way up. We'll slowly fade this in. Same with this, bring this over, and this whole section, this is, we can bring this over. And what I mean by bring this over is bring over the silence, right? Our third wave here, this is the bass line. We can probably bring that in. Intro-wise, how are we doing? Right, and if we really, really wanted, we can go and look at our effects. I'm gonna just go ahead and ungroup these now so it's a little easier to edit. I can grab this and I can say 0, and I can grab this and say 0 as well. How about this? Oh, right, and again, the percussion delay, which made it sound so cool on the play, is in this delay. So, man, this is a tough call, right? I mean, I can lower this by 20 just so it becomes texture. In our reverb, I could just say ignore completely if I really wanted. I'm gonna just mute it and pretend it doesn't exist. So after this, we can still stay with the, we can bring the perk in. Yeah, the bass line does not belong in here. That was actually kind of cool. We can leave that there. This Nord can, yes. So for this part, I want to take the perk out. Let this ride out a little bit. And then the kick, we can take this part out here. And I'm gonna take this. Yes, so that works. Dun, 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 dun. We can get rid of this one here and you know what? Let's get rid of this one too. Screw it. So we're just kind of cruising into the track right here. Right, I'm gonna zoom into this little section here. Add a little double kick. You know what, let's add a triple, and it's strong. And these strings, I'm gonna just let them fade away in. And then they're gonna be able to fade on out. We can get this out of the way. Into the next bass line. And you know what? This little, to me, is like the special sauce. And right now we are overusing the crap out of it. So we need to let that just kind of chill out. And I'm actually gonna go up to here, get rid of that as well. So it only plays once during the break where the kicks drop out. The kicks come back in, the strings drop out, and it just gives us this little bit of a breathing room into this new bass line. What else can be taken out here, right? How do we say the most with the least? If we were to take a page out of Rick Rubin's book, we listen to our up hats, or our closed hats, I should say. We can get rid of those. Those have been playing this entire time, right? So let's see what that sounds like. What else is that? Let's get rid of this too. Let's get rid of the snares. We can take the shaker out, which is this one here. Let's see what that sounds like, right? Because that, when you take something out, it gives you room to use it again later. I mean, that makes sense, but let's see. Let's bring in all, right? And let's add a little bit of a touch of reverb so that when it does cut out. And how do we really blend that in? We'll open up a new audio track. I'm gonna just call this Crash. I'm gonna hit Command F and just type in Crash and just find one. This one's cool. I know, it sounds a little cheesy, but watch this. We're gonna take this, put this right on here. I'm gonna say -18. I'm gonna cut the tail of this off abruptly. Yeah, just like that. Not a full quarter and not necessarily like this eighth. Might be getting these wrong. I don't want it to be this. This is too short, right? And I don't want it to be this because this is too long. But what I want is right in between that. 3/4, I guess, 597,000. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna say delay. We're gonna grab a delay, throw it on here, but I'm gonna put this delay at a fourth or a quarter. Yo, that's the move. That's like super old school. I used to hear this on a ton of old house records, and I loved it. That like, cat, right? Again, we're gonna throw an 8 on here. Just make sure we don't rob any of that low end because we need that for our bass. Let's see what this sounds like. So tight. Leave this out. These shakers can still stay out, right? We want to savor this moment. What happens here? There it is. I need to re-enable just that first little note. And the shakers can still stay out, right? Let's just savor it. Let's live in this. And if we wanted to draw attention to something changing, we can go into our kicks and we can take this one, we'll push it a little early, right here, grab this one here, and hide this one that's supposed to happen here. Whoa, okay, so that's not our kick, but we can match this, and same thing, hide that kick there, but then bring this one here, and bring this one back in. So the one is supposed to happen right here. And I'm gonna take this one, and we're just gonna drop its gain down a little bit, and then same with this one, just a tiny hair. And these claps, whatever, let's leave it in there, let's see what happens. Okay, that's a little cheese ball. We're just gonna paint over that. Nobody needs to ever hear that again. Okay, so we're here. That actually robs attention from the piano part coming in. This first kick. So we're just gonna let it land and let the note be by itself. Right, and I can even probably take this one out here. Yeah, that's it right there. Let it play again. So now that shaker's gonna come in, but we're gonna take the kicks out. Let's bring the kicks back in. Let's bring it in a little early. Whoa. Let's bring in the kicks for a little bit, right? Like kind of fake them out. And then we'll just drop it out here again. Just this little section. Boom. And then I'm gonna take everything that kind of gives you that head bobbing feel out of this. So we're gonna take that out. We're gonna take the up hat out. We'll take the percussion out. We'll take the snares out. Delay, reverb, everyone's out of here. And so that's there, right? We'll leave the whatchamacallit, what the heck is that thing called? The piano out. We'll take this out and we'll even take the shaker out, right? Because the shaker here is going to be robbing a bit of that attention. Dun, dun, dun. And then this little pattern that we have here, we'll duplicate this, let this live over, and we'll take the last section here out. And you know what? We're just gonna hide this piano part for the rest of the track. You had a taste. If you didn't savor it, sorry, sir. Sorry, man. Move on. You wasted your rations. So we have this part. Break down into this little section here. We're gonna go and listen to these chords. Open up our automation lane for the chords again. And there, it's wide open, right? Full. We'll bring this really up. Same thing, we'll go ahead and kind of swoop this up slowly, put a tiny dot here. Oh, easy, partner, easy. Take this one out, curve this one up so it has a nice little whip down. Grab this bass line section. I'm moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour, I know, I'm sorry. But we're just gonna leave the bass out for this section. And if I come here, we can actually bring in that first note. And then our kick, which is this here, we'll just get rid of that first kick. I love getting rid of that initial kick. And let's bring back in everyone's favorite crash, AKA only my favorite crash. Okay, that can be worked on heavily. Honestly, maybe like this whole bass section could be out, or we can even do something where we take this crash and put it here to kind of, right? Or have it match the chord change. Where's the chord change? Right here? Yeah, right here. So. right? And then bring it back in with the kick and all that stuff and have a great time. Or we put it here, which is a little early. I actually kind of like that the most right there. But this is just a quick and rough arrangement of that track I made on the Polyend plate. So if you enjoyed this video, I think you would really enjoy this one as well. And as always, it's always so good to see you, my friend. Hope to see you again next week. Share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace.